Hello, projectors. My name is Sarah Lemmerman McGinnis, and I am so excited to be here today to address some reasons behind why the deconditioning process or coming into alignment as a projector can be overwhelming. So if you are currently feeling confused or overwhelmed or not getting the alignment or results that you want in your life, you are exactly where you need to be right now. And there's a lot of reasons behind why the deconditioning process can be challenging. And so I wanted to take this time today to really speak to the realness, the challenges, the struggle, the growths of the deconditioning process for projectors to reclaim their birthright, their essence, their innate way of being in the world. So many of you know most of who we are today is a product of conditioning. So why that is so important for projectors specifically is that many of us are operating in a system or inherited qualities and ways to be in the world that were taught to us by adults, our parents, our teachers, our colleagues, our bosses, if you will, to be really a generator or to be and work in a world or exist in a family system that is designed for 70% of the population. So if you can imagine, which many of you probably have, as you've found out you're a projector, whether you're just starting on this journey or you've been in this journey for 6-10 years, that a lot of the way projectors are running their lives, the thoughts in their head, the way they tend to their physical bodies, the way they do or don't even have a connection to the spirit or their soul is directly impacted and blocking the projector essence. And so what I wanted to go over today is what can be some barriers within the projector mind, within the projector body, and within the projector soul, where this comes into some challenge, not to discourage you, but to actually normalize that the deconditioning process is challenging, that our subconscious mind that have been running these belief systems or stories of who we are and how we should function and how we should achieve and how we should succeed in relationships and pretty much every facet of life, the subconscious mind doesn't want us to change. So we've had these neural pathways that have been connected, that have shaped the way we view the world and have kept us safe, truly have kept us existing, not necessarily saying the way we're existing we feel healthy and strong and good, but it's kept us alive to this point. And that part of the mind that has established safety or has established a way of viewing things or moving throughout our day is quite stubborn and doesn't want us to change because its primary role was to create safety for us. And so we've had to believe certain things, we've had to do certain things, we exist in this container. If our mind is ultimately in our body trying to keep us alive and safe, the subconscious mind is stuck in the way it has kept you in a particular state. So with that being said, the deconditioning process is actually challenging the subconscious mind. It's challenging and bringing some question or some new strategy to that part of the mind, which unfortunately, when we do that, oftentimes our patterns, beliefs, resistance, all of these qualities get louder when we're trying to create change. So once again, if you're experiencing that, as you are trying to implement new ways to be as a projector, and you feel that it's getting harder, or you feel that your behaviors that you're trying to adjust or have a different relationship with, it's getting harder to say no. I want to let you know that that's actually a good sign, even though it can feel very defeating. It means that you are bringing new content into your mind, body, and spirit, and you are actually shifting, even though it feels perhaps that you're going backwards. Okay, so I want to get into the projector mind. So our mind is really a thought-making machine. Our mind puts meaning to situations, to emotions, to try to interpret life and make us feel safe and know what to do. So oftentimes I find with projectors, our minds are so overstimulated. We've been living in this world for however long you are, not having the adequate caretaking manual to know how to be and exist. And so oftentimes our childhood, our adulthood, we can feel quite afraid, quite overwhelmed. We're typically hyperly sensitive. We most likely had to fit in family systems that didn't honor that sensitivity. So there could be a lot of fear around emotions, around feeling. Oftentimes projectors don't have a strong sense of being able to say no, don't have a strong sense of a boundary. And if we don't have a developed boundary within ourselves, that's a very scary feeling for the entire being. So the mind typically plumps up itself. We disconnect from the physical body, and the mind begins running these stories or seeing patterns in life that may or may not be true, but it's a way of keeping us safe. So the projector mind, as we begin to decondition, has a lot to do with awareness and seeing ourselves not only as the experiencer of the thoughts, but seeing if these thoughts, almost as if we're stepping back and being able to witness ourselves to see, are these thoughts serving me? The more that we can begin to view ourselves from an outside perspective, the more that we can begin to identify fear patterns, belief systems that we developed when we were younger that no longer are serving our adult projector self. We are able to actually reprogram the subconscious mind to a more true and aligned reality. So a mantra that I believe is really beautiful when we begin to peel back the layers of our projector minds is waking up and realizing that when I take the time to be present with my thoughts, not needing to do anything about it, not judging them, simply witnessing them and seeing, being curious, is this mind pattern serving me? Am I interpreting life through a lens of fear, through the lens of needing to say yes, through the lens of pleasing people? Is there an alternative perspective that I can also integrate right now? And the mantra that I believe we can begin to aspire to tell ourselves daily, because again, the mind is a vehicle for the body to follow, is the more that we spend time being present with our mind, we are becoming more of who we truly are. So each morning or throughout the day, a mantra that you can repeat to help the mind is, I am becoming more of who I truly am. Each day I am becoming more of who I truly am. Let that anchor you for your thoughts, your mind chatter, the way that you interact with people, that every day I'm choosing to become more of who I truly am. Okay, moving into the body. So our bodies are naturally more sensitive to the hustle and bustle of life. Clinically, or it's not clinically, that's the wrong word, but technically speaking, we don't have a sacral, which is the main fuel source of the human body. So being that we don't have the main fuel source, we get a 20% gas tank when the rest of the world has 100, our resilience to the fast-paced nature that life is going, which I should say, side note, this fast-paced nature isn't actually how nature designed us to live. If you look back thousands and thousands of years, the pressures, the instant gratification, social media, the pace at which we're working, the amount of work that we're doing, the amount of time we are doing versus being is challenging for all of humans, because once again, that's not how we were designed. But adding the projector quality on top of that, the open sacral, we get burnt out, physically sick, injured, stressed much more quickly because we don't have a robust energy source to help pad us in life. Connecting the body to the mind, because all three are connected. Our thoughts that we're thinking, the pace at what we're thinking, the part of us that's overly critical, the perfectionist part of us. When we are existing in that mind space with those programs running, the physical body can't help but collapse. And I'll say that again, when we are running on these programs of people-pleasing, perfectionism, when we can't say no, when we're trying to go the pace of a cheetah in life, on to the next, when we haven't cultivated time to just be in the body by purely existing, we make ourselves physically sick. The body can't hold it. And typically I find, because projectors tend to be very top heavy, living in the mind, existing in the mind, we have cut ourselves off from the body where all of our intelligence is, where our true south north node, I would say our true south because it's below the mind, but really our true compass in life exists with the wisdom in the body. And a huge part of coming into alignment as a projector is uncovering and listening to the subtle messages of the body. And oftentimes when I've worked with projectors over the last 6 years, when there's injury or sickness or autoimmune disorder or these sorts of addiction, the body had been speaking or has been speaking to you, and we're not listening appropriately. And so life comes in and whacks us. I can share a personal story about that. When I was 10 years into pharmaceutical sales, my first career in a previous lifetime, day one, I knew that job was not for me. But in the corporate American world, it was a very lucrative job with a lot of benefits. And it took me 10 years after knowing, my splenic authority knew that day one, this wasn't for me. After 10 years, life spoke to me by fracturing my back. It was, and I will say, within those 10 years, there was chronic sickness, there was chronic fatigue syndrome, there was constant sore throats. It was a challenging time, but finally, life was really trying to get my attention that I needed to shift and go to a different direction. And it was that when I fractured my back and had time off of work, I was in stillness more, that it became very clear that I needed to move and choose a different career something that aligned more deeply to my soul. So a huge part of coming back into alignment is descending from the mind into the body. And I want to really honor that process of descending down and bringing the wisdom from the body and listening to it is a very delicate and gentle process. There are many reasons and emotions and stories that have kept us in the mind to feel safe. And as we begin to feel and trust the body again, there is emotions and space that wants to be felt and healed. And so if you're noticing that that's been blocking you on your deconditioning journey, or it feels icky, that once again is a huge sign that you are going in the right direction. You know, as an analogy of when a seed becomes a tree, you know, the seed totally destructs itself in order to grow. And part of coming into our true self as projectors is deconstructing an entire belief system or an entire way of seeing the world, and emotions and challenging aspects are a part of it. But once again, what you're birthing is truly what life and God and the universe came here for you to feel, which is your true unique nature. I will leave you with a mantra as well for coming into your body as a projector. These mantras, the first one I gave you with the mind is, I'm becoming more of who I truly am. For the body, the mantra that is powerful that can be stated throughout the day is, I am making choices today that align with my true projector self. I'm making choices today that align with my true projector self. And once again, I'll repeat these, and I encourage you, if you want to write them around your home, keep them in your car, in your bathroom, that when we have these little points of reminding ourselves what we're doing and affirming our new path, our new walk, that also sends messages to the brain to create a new pathway, a new way of living. So it starts out maybe being challenging, but actually it comes into a new way of ease. So I am becoming more of who I truly am, and I am making choices today that align with my true projector self. And lastly, we can talk about the projector soul. And the soul, or the spirit of the projector, is truly the essence of what wants to come through us as projectors. We have this open sacral, which has, one could say, the downside of not having enough energy, being more susceptible to conditioning, needing to be in this world very different than the rest. But what we also have in exchange for that is a connection to God, to the universe, to creation with this open sacral. The essence of what wants to come through you is your true soul. The soul exists on levels of vibration. It's a frequency. Our aura, the projector aura, is much more penetrative. All of these elements of us are in the non-tangible reality. So in a sense, that is where projectors are here to live, exist, and speak to. When we guide people, we're exchanging information in a non-tangible way. We're feeling their energy and we're decoding it, or we're guiding the energy, all done in an invisible world, which is the world we come from, which is the world I believe that life is wanting all of humanity to connect back to. The magic of the sunsets, the messages from the birds, the connection to trees. And we are here, not better than the rest of the world, but with a predisposition to really understand it first. I believe to walk humanity back home to the subtleties of life, the magic connection to source, connection to spirit, connection to things that we can't explain from the mind. Another piece of reclaiming the projector soul is owning all of the parts of yourself that you've put away because life told you they weren't appropriate. You didn't fit in. It wasn't acceptable. That was too childish. Your interests are for kindergartners, not for adults. My hope and prayer for you listening to this right now is that all of those pieces that you've had to cut off are pieces to your projector soul that were intentionally here for you to express at this time. And we come back into alignment with our true, unique projector self by beginning to engage in those activities once again. Engaging in play that I know many of us projectors have cut off from. I can't tell you how many projectors I work with that have a overarching seriousness to their demeanor, to their personality, which has been, in my opinion, cultivated because all of their playful, humor, unique, odd, weird things have been taught out of them. And so we're left with the more of a serious persona. So the invitation again is to bring your soul back to life, gaining all the things that your young projector self loved to do, finding inspiration in the mundane, sitting under a tree, painting, drawing, reading, any of these things, dressing up, dancing. The mantra I want to leave you with the projector soul that you once again can begin to repeat to yourself throughout the day is that I relish in all of my qualities that make me unique. I relish in all of my qualities that make me unique. So that is the messaging for today. I hope that wherever you are in your journey, that you trust that you're exactly where you need to be, that you know ahead of time that challenges and resistance and frustration and emotions that can be difficult to feel are a part of the deconditioning process, and that you give yourself as much grace as you need to keep trying things over and over and over again. Learning how to set boundaries, learning how to quiet the mind that is looking to be perfect, learning how to say no to people who are used to you saying yes. These are challenging. They go up against our self-worth. And I will leave with that our self-worth actually has never been truly made by doing all of these other things. It's a program that we've inherited to make ourselves feel safe. And true projector alignment is learning how to live below these programs, deeper within our soul, so that our true nature, our true beauty, our true vibration can emit, and that we really are here to be a beacon of light, to master the subtleties of life, frequency, aura, energy. And the more that we master the frequency and energetics in our own mind, body, and soul, life continues to open doors for you and for us. Thank you for tuning in. And I want to also let you know that starting September 16th, I will be offering a 3-week mind, body, soul alignment training, where we will even dive deeper into each of these categories with practical knowledge, tips, tools, meditations, exercises to further our alignment in each of these areas, the projector mind, the projector body, and the projector soul. If you are wanting to dive deeper and to really attune to the projector essence and work through some of these challenges, I would be so honored to have you join this 3-week training. You can find more information by going to theprojectormovement.com or via Instagram. There's a link in our bio, and we really hope to see you there. Till next time, have a beautiful day. Take care.